Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, James.
And good morning, everybody. Hopefully, as always, you are all having a wonderful weekend, a wonderful week, whenever it is that you are listening. So here we are again, Anne, Sunday morning.
Yes, once more.
Fantastic. Are you happy to begin?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Normally we start a conversation.
Yeah.
But I've been listening to the local elections this week, or following the local elections. Yeah. And it brought up quite a lot of my life from the Second World War.
Okay.
And I'd just like to read something I've written, really, is my family, dad, uncles, fought in the Second World War. One uncle was discharged and died of TB. Other uncles and my dad never talked about it because it was always very raw to them. They gave up family comforts for the sake of their children. My family, my mother with 8 siblings, my dad with 1 sister, all mediumistic, so they were very, very feeling people. All Labour supporters and trade unionists for the good of the working men. My mother and father were both members of the Labour Party after the war, and trade unionist. My dad, a member of the Communist Party at a young age, 16 years old, he said communism at the best, with no corruption, would be utopia. I myself feel shame that a party called the Labour Party have lost sight of the principle of its party for the working man. And I've listened to everybody talking, and really my query is why can't parties get together and work as one in this world where there's no unity at the moment? Is why can't the parties just join together in every country and work together for greater good and unity?
Well, thank you for reading that out. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure all of you listening can pick up upon how personal, how emotional, and how strongly you feel about it, or at least how strongly the feelings are linked to your family and everything that you were brought up around and influenced by.
Yes, very strong, but
yeah.
I mean,
it's a privilege to hear you speak. I can see you as well with such emotion, and it's really raw, isn't it, and real.
Yes, it is, because it brings back memories. It brings back memories of those times.
Yeah, well, it made me feel emotional seeing you so emotional, to be honest with you, because I care so much about you. It's you feel, if I understand and can feel what you're feeling disillusioned with politics in general and society in general, globally, if you're tying it to what you just said at the end, but particularly with your own family history and links to the Labour Party historically, that you feel disillusioned and disappointed and let down by the Labour Party, particularly for your parents and your family.
Yes,
and all of the people that stood up for what they stood up for and what they invested their time, their energy, and in many cases their life for. Have I got that right?
You've got that right, yes. Principles, in a way. Though the people in those times had principles.
Yeah.
And the principles were that, it's loyalty, isn't it? It's loyalty as well.
Yeah.
Comes into it. And I don't feel that parties are working for the greater good of man at the moment, of mankind. I think that's where my emotion comes from.
Yeah.
Is politics have become politics. I know that sounds mad, doesn't it, really?
Yeah. There isn't a moral cause.
No.
That is one of the consistent criticisms of Keir Starmer's Labour government in the United Kingdom. I'm sure many of you listening feel the same, that there isn't a morality, there isn't a vision, there isn't something larger than policy. There isn't an emotional core to this, a sense of mission, although there's been lots of talk of missions, statements of intent. There hasn't really been a sense of feeling, a sense of real conviction in emotion, a narrative, a story, something that is catalysing change and giving people moral energy, a moral uplift, a sense of hope and optimism, a sense of conviction that romantically I sense, and definitely from seeing and feeling you share what you've written this morning, is that romantic moral
I think it's
mission.
honour for me, honour.
Yeah.
I think honour seems to have gone.
Yeah.
I see a man who's the leader of a party, and it wouldn't matter to me whether it was Conservative, Labour or any other, that somebody of honour would not be standing at this moment in a position of power when the results show 100% how the people want, where they want to walk with their feet. So it's honour. It's if I'm in leadership of something, I have to always have honour.
Yeah.
And my principles have to be for the people. And I'm not sure whether in this world today there are any principles that are for the people of this world, the humans.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Well, the people have voted in the United Kingdom, in the local elections at least, and it has been consistent in the polls as well, with a consistent rise of reform. And if we value democracy and we value honour, then we should listen to those people, and maybe that's the right decision. I'm not saying that that's what I think or that's what you think. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I think we are being a little bit judgmental if we're assuming that it's the failure of Labour specifically. Maybe people want to vote for reform and the right to vote for reform, and they should be listened to.
Yes, so they should. I feel that it's just in general, I think maybe it's a general feeling of malaise within the country. I don't see the oomph of man anymore. When I'm talking about being there when people were voting, because my parents were part of the trade unions and part of the Labour Party, being there when people were coming in, counting them, and they were queuing up, literally queuing up to come and vote, and none of us knew what they were voting. So I don't see that. There seems a general malaise of people.
People are not involved.
No.
There isn't, and even if they are involved, it's not with the same level of conviction.
No.
No, there isn't that real sense. It comes back to me, a sense of a morality, of mission, of purpose.
Yes.
Of it being more than just social changes. It's to do with the human condition. I mean, that the Labour Party built upon that.
Yes.
It's built upon the idea that there is something more than just your status in life. There's something of intrinsic value to a human being, as other political persuasions also value too. And I think that's important. Politics changes. That's life, and we live in a democracy that ebbs and flows. Sometimes it doesn't look like it does, but it does. And what the Labour Party, what the Conservative Party, what the Liberal Democrats, the Greens, Reform, or any other political party, past, present or future, means to different people can vary. It can vary, not dramatically, but can vary in how we see things and what's most important to people. Turnout was up for the local election, which was still less than half, but was I think it was about 7 points up or something like that. It may not be exactly right, but it was up in terms of turnout.
But that's not the direction we want to go, isn't
Absolutely,
it?
yes.
So that's what I'm saying, vote with our feet.
I'm going off the top of my head in terms of I don't have the information in front of me, but compared to the last local elections, turnout was up. So there was more engagement. I am sensing, particularly online, but definitely in rhetoric, on the radio, and there are many podcasts now, and many more young people are engaging with it. Politics is becoming more and more part of the discourse again. Not a lot, but more part of the discourse again, which I see as positive. And that's going in the right direction in terms of engagement. and people are recognising that unless we engage with issues and put those feelings into actions, and if we value a democracy, we have to action that democracy by holding free and fair elections and honouring the results of them and having as much participation as possible based on the current system of it being voluntary whether you vote or not. So I see that as a positive, not a huge, overwhelming positive, but generally democracy has been and is under threat globally. And if we value democracy and if we value free and fair elections, and if that's idealistically put really, but that's what it's predicated on, participation, engagement, honouring the results are important, very, very important. And listening is important, which I sense is one of the underlying grievances. To be honest, it's deeper than a grievance, isn't it, with you?
Yes.
I'm picking up upon it. It's hurt, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a real disappointment, is that from a Labour perspective, Keir Starmer's not listening to the electorate, which is saying we potentially would be leaning more towards Labour, but we don't want you as leader.
Yes.
I think that's what's being said. Now, I'm not coming from a Labour perspective, specifically. I'm not coming from any perspective this morning.
No.
Specifically, I did vote in the local elections. I did.
But everybody should vote.
Absolutely, yes.
There's not anybody who should abstain from a vote.
I agree. I do agree.
And that, I think that's where I'm at the moment, is that we all have to build up that, I don't know, that fire within us that people used to have. I can remember after the war, and I know people think it's like a pipe dream because things were hard.
Yeah.
But after the war, when all the bombing stopped,
Yeah.
we started to have to rebuild this country.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Rebuild it.
Yeah. So we're talking about
nothing.
the back end of the 1940s
Yes.
through the 1950s.
Yeah. So then we got
Yeah.
into the 1950s.
Yeah.
So the new buildings are going around.
Yeah.
But then what happened then, and it may have been utopia, it may have been a false, I don't know, but for me it was real.
Yeah.
But then in came Elvis Presley and dancing.
Yeah.
And it was a time of clothes because we'd had none.
Yeah.
During rationing, we'd had all rationing. So it might have been that just we appreciated that we were getting these things.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit like utopia. You could walk into a job. If you left one job in the morning, in the afternoon you could walk into another job.
Yeah.
But everything, and that sounds like, it was utopia, but it was hard work as well.
Yeah.
Then what we were doing, but there's no television, there's nothing to stay in the house for. But we were walking out of the house, out of work, working sometimes 12 hours a day, and then going off dancing.
Yeah.
But then hours were set with pubs closed at 10:30.
Yeah.
So people had a good night's sleep. Now, it sounds like, that's utopia, but there wasn't money.
Yeah.
And people were together. I don't know how it's got lost. Have we become greedy? Maybe
Yes.
greed's taken over the world.
It's
And money's more important.
Yes, I would say in simple terms, it's difficult to disagree with what you're saying in terms of money and greed in the most general terms. It's complicated, it's nuanced. For a period of time after the Second World War, there was no imminent, immediate threat to the people of this country.
True.
There was only really one homogenous power in the world at that time, and it shifted. It really was the end of the old world and the beginning of something new, in that the United States was the only atomic nation. It was the only country on Earth, people of Earth, that had such a weapon of destruction, which I'm not suggesting in one shape, form or another is a good thing. I'm not suggesting that at all. But it provided a real sense of a monotheistic power. There was only one superpower, and they were an ally of the United Kingdom. And for a period of time, there was no threat to anybody because America wasn't threatening the United Kingdom. And I mean, this is debatable, but they weren't necessarily threatening any other particular nation directly. Now that is debatable, but there wasn't any clear or obvious threats made. So from a position of a world that was hostile, threats from and within Europe and the East, which culminated in the First and then the Second World Wars that dragged everybody into it, there was a period of peace with one superpower that could put anybody else in their place. Because if anybody else even tried, they knew that this was one nation that had the atomic weapon, therefore that nobody could stand up to them. That changed as it led towards the Cold War and the development of nuclear weapons, and Russia particularly, obviously, standing off against America, which led to the tensions rising again, and then the world starts to become more suspicious, and then hostilities, and it changed. It changed. But I do feel that the consciousness of the earth, one, you're absolutely right, the reprieve after the Second World War, the relief. I didn't live through it, you lived through it.
Yes.
I mean, so with the greatest of respect to my family as well, to my my family, my grandparents, and everybody that stood and fought for what they fought for, and I mean it genuinely with the greatest of respect. There was a period of relief and celebration and renewal and optimism and possibility, and then linked with the baby boomers, many children being born, a real sense of youthfulness and youth culture. And because America was the dominant power, you spoke about Elvis Presley and such, and television and Hollywood, rock and roll,
Yes.
burger joints, the ice rink, 10-pin bowling, a real sense of American culture sweeping into the United Kingdom, which was new and fresh and energetic. And we had this neon dream of the future. And that predicated, I sense, a stability. And that stability's gone. The people of this nation are under threat. The people of any nation now are under threat. And it's very difficult to feel a sense of underlying contentment and hope when there's an anxiety in the air that people are under threat. The world is not at peace. The world is a hostile world, and there are active hostilities aimed at everybody, directly and indirectly. And that's not just now through the nation states, it's through culture, it's through religion, it's through all of the things that historically have caused major conflicts and major prejudice and sometimes real hate and violence, war, discrimination and genocide. They're all active, and everybody feels it in the air. And some people are feeling it literally because it's happening to people and around people, and everybody feels it. Nobody feels secure. Nobody feels at peace. No nation is safe. There's a threat out there, and everybody feels it, which is why peace has to be the central mission. It has to be. It's not just idealistic romance. It's a literal reality that can change the way we think, the way we feel, the way we behave, and what will come thereafter, the world that we will shape and create from that place of peace, genuine peace, where war has ended, genuinely ended, and the prospect of war is no more, where we've shifted from an adversarial, is that word? How you say it?
No.
Adversary, where you the plural of that, where we have hostilities of us and them, where we do look at unifying the people of the world. We will have many disagreements, many disagreements, and people will be very passionate, like you are this morning, about your particular political persuasions, your historical feelings about certain cultures of the past, what the values that you were brought up with. I cannot have more respect for you for sharing it, to be honest with you, Anne. But the resolutions of any conflicts can come through mediation, discussion, diplomacy, debate, compromise, maturing, and moving away from destruction, hate, war, crime, pettiness, lies, greed.
There's only one way forward, isn't it? And that's, isn't it?
I hope that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. But as you're talking, that's what I'm feeling for myself is there's only one way forward, and that's working together.
Yeah.
And I don't see globally anybody working together.
No, there are alliances. I think what's so important, and what you're saying is so important. What we're discussing together this morning is so important, and probably half an hour is nowhere near enough. So maybe it'll run for a few podcasts to come. It's very difficult to see anything other than alliances of convenience and greed, really, when you're talking about money. personal leaders making personal decisions to make enormous amounts of money. Leaders of countries using politics to make enormous sums of money.
Corruption.
Billions. Corruption, absolutely. Good old-fashioned, well, not necessarily good, but tried and tested corruption. Racketeering, corruption, blackmailing, emotional blackmailing. It's all out there.
Yes. It is out
Espionage. It's all still going on in
Yes.
one shape, form or another. And everybody feels it. Everybody has a sense of it, even if people don't actively talk about it and consciously think about it. Everybody is a part of that homogeny of consciousness, that all of those thought patterns are out there, all of that information and behaviour people are exposed to.
Yes.
And it's affecting everybody. And it's insidious. And it seeps into all areas and all nooks and crannies in society. And it's corrosive. It's deeply corrosive. It's an insidious, deep, dark energy that needs to be gone. It needs to be well and truly removed.
Yes. It starts at the bottom, doesn't it? It's not even... It's from the bottom all the way up. And I think what I'd like to... As an example of this, the world doesn't seem to work. We're not joined up. We don't have joined up writing anymore. And that's how I feel the world is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
it's a good
talking
point,
about
yeah.
this on a personal level.
No joined up writing, no joined up thinking.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and they're not encouraging that as much in schools these days, so it to be neat. And you always did joined up writing.
Yeah.
You had to get it as neat as possible.
Yeah.
So that meant your thinking, like you say, had to be
Joined up.
But what I'd like to, I mean, only you can talk about this, not me, is that
Well, I wouldn't be too sure.
your experience or our experience this week with your car. Because you did explain to people, but they don't know you've got it back.
Well, I haven't got it back.
Haven't, but that's what I'm saying to you. I could say, somebody would say to me, has James got his car back? And I would say, yes, but he hasn't got it.
Yeah.
And that's how the world seems at the moment, because there's complications.
Yes. It's there, but not there.
It's there,
so close yet so far.
Yes.
Yes. If you haven't listened, a couple of podcasts ago, Anne and I discussed, long story short, over most of the drama and the trauma and the emotion of it, mostly. Anne's house was burgled and various things were taken from her handbag. You can listen to it a couple of podcasts ago. And in that, my car keys were actually stolen as well. And my car was stolen off the drive. The police did recover it and took it to a compound through insurance. It's been moved around here, there and everywhere. And it's ended up at a car garage, quite local to where I am. But there's no movement at the moment. It's booked in to be looked at. And as far as I'm aware, the insurance company is waiting for an estimate of the damage. And it's mostly electrical as far as I've been told. I haven't seen the vehicle.
But it's not an electric car, is it?
No, it's a petrol car. So it's one of, the electrics of the car in terms of the trackers and start circuit boards and such. I don't know.
Yeah.
In literal terms. So fingers crossed. One thing I do know is I have insurance. They're looking at it. It's all in motion. So it will be sorted out for the best. I have no doubt about that at all. But you're right, it's dragging its heels, which it kind of always does, doesn't it?
It does,
Unfortunately, it's like hurrying up to wait. It's a bit like being at the airport, where you move very quickly through one area and everybody seems to be really diligent and moving quickly to then slow down and stop and wait. And another area where sometimes people move like a sloth and nothing seems to be done, and then sometimes you have to go back, and then what they told you at this point, when you get to the next point, they change what they said and they say, oh no, they couldn't have said that, and you say, well, they did say that, and then they check and they say, oh, actually they did say that, go over here, no, back over there. It's this convoluted here, there, everywhere process, and that's what life feels like. There's very little A to B to C. It's here, there, everywhere. It doesn't make sense, very little common sense. We want direct. Want things to be sorted, and managing expectations as well. I can't complain. The police were brilliant. My insurance company are processing the claim. The garage have taken the car. Everything's in motion. Everything's in situ. I have no doubt it will all work out brilliantly, whether that car returns or the insurance company have to pay out or whatever happens. I know it will all be for the best and I will be better off for it. I have no doubt about that at all. It's just frustrating, isn't it? That's part of the experience, but it is frustrating.
Yes.
We all want it now, whether it's a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, feedback or results of a test, a scan, something to do with insurance, buying something. We want if there's information to be had and the information exists, and someone could potentially go and get the information, then do it. Don't if for whatever reason something can't be got or the information's not there, then fair enough. But if it's there, and you can go and get it, well, get on with it. That's the feeling.
Yeah, and that's the same with the mechanical side of it. On the electric side of it, you're still waiting for expertise to do one job, somebody else who's got expertise in another job, because of all the electrical and the computer sides of somebody telling you to collect your goods when you get out of the car. All of that can be interfered with, which stops the car moving. Whereas a car used to just be an engine that you could do your own service on. Get it sorted out, put the oil in, it needs oil, it needs the point. You see, even I know that because I could do it. Put water in, I knew where to put water in.
You're absolutely right, Anne. It's become a driving computer, really.
Yes, that's all it is.
Even modern petrol cars now are like that. They're computerised. And they're not mechanics, they're technicians, vehicle technicians. So you're right.
Even to one point, they said the wheels wouldn't turn.
The wheel lock,
Wheel lock,
I mean, I'm just relaying the information I've been told. I don't fully understand it and I haven't seen it. But you're right, it's too complicated. Life has become overcomplicated that even people who should know what they're doing with it don't really seem to know what they're doing with it.
So even a push bike now, you can get an electric push bike. Or an electric scooter. And you just think, the world, nothing is simple anymore, which is what I'm trying to say is that we need to simplise things, communicate, walk with our feet into what we want to do, instead of all taking a step back and thinking, oh, will it be all right?
So back to basics.
I would say,
philosophy.
I would say back to basics for the whole of the world, this planet. That's food and everything.
Well, if we do that voluntarily, we can be in command of that situation for the most part. If we don't do it voluntarily and it happens through other means, then it could be extremely dramatic and destructive. It could be a natural disaster, could be war, could be something other.
But you've just said it. We can be in command.
Yeah, absolutely. The human race. Everybody together.
Every single person can be in command together. And to grow that food.
Well, that's the great experiment that we've not really explored.
No.
And I suggest we go and find that out. What would life be like if the human race worked together? Not just certain people, but we work together for the greater good. And that we resolved our differences and our disagreements not through violent means, not through war, not through punishment and cruelty, but through dialogue, mediation, discussion, debate, compromise. We look to what shapes our world for the benefit of all for the most part. And what the world would be like is an unknown, but I suggest we go and find out. Because we know what happens through war, death and destruction, and we keep repeating that lesson. And if we are insistent, the human race, upon exploring that option again, there may not be another opportunity to experience something else, because it could be. And with the weaponry available and the technology developing and developed already, I mean, existential to humanity, cataclysmic. I mean, it is that enormous. So we really are at the last chance saloon, which is both terrifying but also very exciting, because we can really now pivot to something truly unifying. I am getting to the point where not just myself singularly, but looking at myself first and foremost and including everybody else as an invitation, maybe we need to do it. Maybe we need to do it rather than looking at outside leaders and politicians and more broken promises and disappointment and disillusionment with the way things are and the status quo and change which isn't change. Maybe we need to start formulating something that can be impactful and either joining with what already exists and giving it momentum and seeing if it can be a vehicle to carry peace to this earth, or creating a new vehicle, metaphorically speaking, a new way of doing things. And maybe it's incumbent upon all of us to actually step up now and take responsibility and move forward. And if that's something that you would like, then we need to start thinking about what would we stand for? What do we stand on in terms of principles, policies? What's our vision for the future specifically? What would our manifesto be? Where would we take things? And I'm talking about the people,
Yes.
we the people of Earth. And I would suggest let's include everybody, and not just people part of the societies that we're used to, but lots of the communities that have been on the earth in their way of living way before modern worlds of cities and automobiles and planes and trains and computers and artificial intelligence. But the inhabitants of the earth in terms of certain communities and ways of thinking, let's bring everybody back and have a true United Nations.
A simple way before we finish is maybe
Yeah.
what my grandma said to me. I've spoken about my grandma, who was the lady who did the no health service, who did the laying out and the birthings.
Yeah.
I've spoken about her before, but I can remember when people started to have all these food fads, different food, and and they started to have
I
curries.
like that. That's some wonderful alliteration.
Yeah.
Awesome alliteration there.
Yeah, exactly.
Food fads.
Food fads.
Yeah.
They had and that was her. She had
Yeah.
what's all these food fads that are going around
Yeah.
now? And I said to her, well, it's about health. So she said, there's only two things you need, Anne. You need colour on your plate.
Right.
And if you haven't got the right colour on your plate, you can't digest it.
That's a really good
So I
point.
said to her, I don't understand what you mean. So she said, well, if you put the wrong colours together, your body won't be able to digest the food. So she said, if you've got fish and chips, you have to have peas. Only green goes with fish. Peas. You can't put carrots with peas. You won't digest it.
That's interesting. Because people do have broccoli with fish, don't they?
Yeah.
Or parsley with fish,
Yes.
which are also green.
Which are okay, but you never put red with fish.
Yeah.
On a Sunday, you have to have all colours because that's your main meal of the week.
Yeah.
Remember, this is after rationing as well.
Yeah.
You have your main meal of the week, which is your your dinner, your Sunday dinner, which has to have all the colours.
Yeah.
Red, white, green, and brown.
Yeah.
So you have your meat, you have your roast potatoes and your vegetables and your gravy. And she said that's your main meal for the week.
Yeah.
That gives you all the nutrients you need. Then you mix your colours properly. You don't eat salad in winter.
Right.
Because in winter you need stodge. You need to build your body up. In
Root
winter,
vegetables.
Root vegetables.
And plenty of protein.
So you eat your root vegetables
Yeah.
and proteins. In the winter in the summer you have your vegetables because you need water.
So that
It's
would be
hot.
your salads and your
That's
fruits.
your salads and your fruits.
And your berries and your nuts and all of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So, and she said, and you never eat anything from abroad unless it's got a skin on it.
That's
Well,
interesting.
that's interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting. Yes.
Nothing. She said you don't eat
Because it will
food.
lose its nutritional value.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless it's got a skin on it when you get it,
Yeah.
you don't eat it.
Wow.
It's not good for you.
So you're talking about this generational, timeless wisdom
Yes.
that's been accumulated through
Yes.
people living and sharing that wisdom, sharing their experiences
Yes.
for the greater good with each other.
But look at the people in their 80s now, how healthy they are. Lots of them, I know some of them are not healthy,
Yeah.
but they've got to 80 from that
Yeah.
that very basic food.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think
And a sense of community and a can-do attitude.
Yes.
And a gratitude. I mean, complete generalisation.
allotments,
But
growing their own.
a sense of community, a sense of purpose, which is where we started, or the lack of
Yes.
such. Yes, a certain attitude to life, and because attitude plays such an
Yeah.
enormous part. Wow, we've really covered a lot, and I mean, I'm looking at it now. I can see the piece of paper that you put together. Thank you for sharing what you did at the start, and I could see, and I'm sure all of you listening could feel how strongly, how emotional, and how much it means to you. You're linked to your family and what it means to them, and I have nothing but respect for that, because it takes courage to share how you really feel, and to be vulnerable and to be raw. And I feel in my way about things so strongly too. I'm not sure I'd be able to hold it together. So sometimes I have to analyse just to get through a conversation. Otherwise, you just hear me sobbing, I think, because I do get extremely upset about the way things are. I feel so deeply. I'm not talking about politics specifically, just what's happening on this earth. And
Yes.
it's going to change one way or another.
But if we don't remember the past, we can't have a future.
That's a really, really wise point, Anne. And thank you. Thank you. Well, I can't think, I don't know of, and I absolutely know it in my bones, there is no one better than yourself, the wisest, to share your wisdom. And thank you for doing so.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Plenty of food for thought there this morning. And I hope you've enjoyed listening. Wow. A lot to think upon. Well, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And if you have any questions or suggestions, and I'm sure you have your own deep thoughts and feelings and passions to share, please do. And you don't have to agree with Anne. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with anybody, really. I mean, it would surprise me. It would surprise you, Anne, if there's no consensus about anything. That would be a surprise. But we will have differences. And that's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
My main point, I suppose, through all of this is let's share those differences and let's celebrate where we unite and in a way that's mature, and let's support each other, and let's listen to each other, and let's be open to learn and grow together as humanity, as a community of everybody together.
Yes. And if you enjoy what you're listening to or get anything from it, please share these podcasts.
Yes, thank
Please
you.
share them.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing so. Okay, everybody. Well, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week. And as always, we look forward to being with you and speaking with you again next Sunday morning. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.